Okay, this is Del Chatterson in Montreal with Russell Fralich, a crime writer of Canada, author, also in Montreal. I've written a series of novels called the Dale Hunter series of crime thrillers about an entrepreneur in the Montreal computer business in the 1980s. And I'm the regional rep for Crime Writers of Canada in Quebec and Eastern Canada, Atlantic Canada. Russell is also from Montreal, a professor at HEC, and has written an outstanding first novel called True Patriots, a Canadian action thriller with political subterfuge, extremist separatist plots, and two strangers racing to stop it all. He's won several awards, including being a finalist in the first Crime Book Award of Excellence by the Crime Writers of Canada, and finalist in the 2021 Kobo Rakuten Emerging Writers Award for Mystery Genre. He's published by Dundurn, and I'd like to say hello, welcome, Russell, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your book, what you're writing now and what you're writing next.
Oh boy, lots of questions. Okay, well, hi, thanks very much for the invitation, Del. Very much appreciated. Yes, my name is Russell Fralich. I'm living in Montreal. It's home. Let's see, what can I say about a little bit about me. So I was born in Montreal, but I did not grow up here. I moved across the country as a kid. So I've lived, I think I counted 4 provinces and 3 countries and 7 towns. So I moved around a lot.
Okay, that sounds like a military family or something.
No, it was just a dad who preferred to change careers a lot. So
okay, yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
Yeah, and I guess it's passed down to me because I'm on my 3rd career as well. So my background is actually in engineering.
Okay.
So I have degrees in engineering, physics, and electrical engineering. And my first job was as an engineer in a telecom satellite company. Okay. So we did payloads that were launched into space. And then I moved to a multinational telecommunications cell phone company, and where I lived overseas and worked overseas and here in Canada for many years. And then I got tired of the corporate life, and I moved on. And in my early 40s, I dumped it all and made a switch to academia. Okay. So yeah, and then now I'm a professor of business and strategy at HEC Montreal, and it's great.
Did you study at HEC, or you did engineering?
I did actually, yeah, I did. So I have a PhD in strategy. So I had to study all the classics and military and business and all that kind of stuff. And I teach it at different levels, and it is really a great career. I'm very, very happy. Students are wonderful.
It's a challenging subject. I've also done some consulting and writing and lecturing on strategy and business planning.
Yep. So I really like it. So I'm paid to write. So I do write, but I write academic papers, of course, much less widely distributed. I do a lot of teaching, of course. And the business side gave me a lot of ideas, and it actually forms part of the nucleus of the book that you're talking about. So that's this one, The True Patriots. So where I try in my writing, I've tried in my short stories. So I have 1 short story published, but most of them are still floundering away, and most of them talk about, like, not necessarily the best side of business, but usually the worst side of business.
They're short stories as well, fiction, or
yeah, some fiction, and I have a series of stories that are nonfiction, based on some of the poor decisions that I've witnessed. So
yeah, we were saying before we started how much we have in common, and it's interesting because I've been using storytelling for years in consulting and management to share ideas and experiences with other entrepreneurs and the lessons learned. So, and I kind of switched, as I was telling you, I have some real life stories in my business books that I've made more interesting in crime fiction by adding some drama.
Exactly. Well,
that's mafia characters.
Well, you've got more practice than me. I've only done it like once successfully, and then the rest I'm trying my best. So I'm trying to learn and to try to do that. So yeah. So this book.
I was retired so that I had time to do this, and I didn't really start writing novels until 2015. So.
Okay. Well, I started this in 2012. It's my 2nd novel attempt. I did one about 15, 20 years ago. Okay. And I tried my best, took lots of courses, very earnest, studied the craft, and the book was terrible. I did a first draft and I didn't touch it for 10 years. And I looked at it again. Oh, maybe I should go back to writing and, blah. Oh, this is really bad. So it will never see the light of day. But I was motivated enough. And then in 2012, I started writing True Patriots.
Okay.
It took a long time.
And how did you discover, how did you make it much better, in your opinion? It's obviously getting great reviews. I've read comments from other authors and reviewers, and you've obviously mastered the craft.
Well, not master, but it's a good first step. I really spent a lot of time. I took courses at the University of Toronto at their summer writing program. They have a really good program for mystery writers. So I did that twice. I've taken it twice. I also did a new writer program at the Banff Center, which was really a great introduction to the world. So they gave you an ID tag, and for the first time, the tag had my name and it said writer. I said, ooh, it must be true then. Geez, I guess I really am a writer if they think so.
Assuming the title is a big deal.
Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm really trying. And then I took a lot of courses when I was in Montreal before with the Quebec Writers Federation. I took lots of courses, like just specific topics. Met with a lot of different writers, a lot of networking just to see, what do you do?
It's a never-ending process,
Oh yeah. And then I moved to Nova Scotia. I was living there for about 5 years. And I joined the Writers Federation of Nova Scotia, and I took a lot of their courses as well. Okay. Just on like specific aspects of the craft. So I really learned that
it's a never-ending process. I was reading somewhere that the secret for successful writers is that not only read a lot and write a lot, but also to talk to a lot of other authors, because you learn so much from the shared experience. I found that's the great value of Crime Writers of Canada, is that association with. Somebody else said, "Oh my God, I didn't realize there were so many crime writers in Canada."
Well, I was becoming a bit disheartened because I've been writing this book, what turned out to be this book, for about 5 years, so 2017, 2018, and really, I'm trying my best to meet people like agents or trying to find publishers, and it was all organized. And I had my spreadsheet, and nothing was happening. So one fall, I went to the Quebec Writers Federation annual awards gala. And what I did was I tried to meet all of the candidates, all the shortlist candidates for all the awards. And I just went to meet them, talk to them for a few minutes. What I was really looking for was, how long did it take them to write this book that they're being awarded for? And my guess was my mental average was about 7 to 9 years. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm not doing so badly then, because I was really, really feeling a bit down. I was like, maybe it's never going to happen. And some people say, oh, writing a book is like a marathon. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. A marathon's over in like a few hours, and you train for it for maybe a year. This thing's going to be like a decade kind of project, or a half-decade project. It's not a marathon. It's much bigger.
Yeah. I've made the marathon analogy myself, because it is a bit that because you need the stamina, the persistence, the discipline to get in shape and learn the craft and learn the techniques, and then you have to spend a lot of time working at it. And it's a grind, and
it is. For me, the thing that worked was it was an attitude shift that someone pointed it out to me later on and said, well, I'm treating the book like every other hobby or life project. Like, let's say you're into gardening. Okay, well, you're going to do all the things with your plants, but maybe the real bounty that you're expecting won't happen for a few years, a couple of perennial cycles or something like that. I think the book is sort of like that too. It's a whole bunch of little things, and hopefully it'll turn into something nice. But I also I hired editors. I met lots of editors. So I did substantive edits, and I paid for that. I did like a line edit, a copy edit. And then the publisher did the same thing afterwards. And they still found really interesting, really mismatches in the story or the technical.
Oh, really? They made a lot of, what were the changes once you were signed up with Dundurn originally?
Dundurn, yeah, that's right. So very lucky. Yep. So Yeah, they found, you know, like logic errors, and of course, as the author, you don't see these anymore because you've seen this for years, and you don't witness that. You know,
Mhm.
in
But
chapter 2 was on this.
they found things or changed things from what other editors had done.
Yeah, well, they proposed a few things. So first, the book originally wrote the book as a standalone. And I really hadn't thought about much more than the publisher said, well, actually, I think you should aim for a series.
Right.
Said, okay, well, if it's going to be series, certain things can't be resolved then because they'll take the series to resolve. So
Yeah.
I worked with their editor for during the summer, trying to figure, okay, how do we do this? How is it framed? That kind of stuff. And it was great. It was really good working with them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it is a challenge to get all those things right. Even the labeling of the genre, whether is it a crime mystery, is it a thriller, is it a cozy thriller, cozy mystery, or a police procedural? All those things you have to kind of decide in advance and then deliver to reader expectations.
That's right. And the title too, the title was only defined towards the end. So
yeah,
we had lots of different working titles, and I said, no, this is.
Well, that's good. Well, it's nice to know that worked out so well, and I hope it continues to go well for you. And the next one will be, you have now decided on a series, and you have to deliver another one soon, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm working on books 2 and 3, so it'll be a 3-book cycle, and we've already agreed on the story arc. So I had to propose that in like a synopsis of the single book and a synopsis of the other books and the story arcs.
And are they giving you 7 to 9 years to complete them?
No, it's like they'll let me know, you know, whatever. So I gave them a basic idea. So my plan is to finish the first draft of book 2 in 2 weeks from now.
I hope you're close.
Yeah, I'm very close. But there's a few remaining plot holes, and of course, it's only the first draft. So
okay, and their editors have not looked at it yet, or do you have somebody?
No, they're not interested until it's in good shape. So
I see. Okay,
I will do the same, pretty much the same thing as I did before. And I have friendly readers too who are very polite. You know, friends of mine who like that kind of genre. And gave me really good feedback, you know, essentially saying, well, I like this, but that part sucks. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Is there any particular author that you were thinking of or had in mind when you were writing it that you never want to copy or imitate too much, but you get some ideas? No.
Well, I knew what I wanted from the start. I didn't know how to express it, but now I understand a bit better. I wanted to write a book that I would read myself.
Right.
And almost all the courses I had taken had used like literary fiction as the model to aspire to. And every time I tried, I felt it was very unsatisfactory for me. And then one of the U of T teacher, he said, well, why don't you just write something that you would read yourself? And I thought, that's a great insight. I hadn't heard that before. That's when things started really rolling. So there's a lot of writers I like. I mean, from the older thriller generation. I mean, my challenge was when I was a kid, I used to read the series of political thrillers called Exoneration by Richard Romer. He was a retired Air Force general in the 70s.
The Canadian.
The Canadian.
Yeah.
And I liked that kind of setup. It was a political thing. There was some action, some intrigue, and I didn't really know what was going to go on. For the action thriller genre that I like, they're almost all American authors.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking of Clive Cussler when I read a few pages of your novel.
Sure, it could be Clive Cussler. Yeah, exactly. But you know, and then there's a newer generation like Brad Thorne, Mark Greaney, and those kinds of guys. Yeah. But the source of tension is, well, something, you know, the Constitution is threatened or the president's been kidnapped, and I'm going, I don't care. Yeah. You guys aren't the beacon of democracy that you were a generation ago. So I don't feel any buy-in anymore. So I wanted to do something that was very Canadian right from the start.
Okay, so not the world-ending disaster saved by our hero.
No, exactly. And I thought, okay, would US or UK or the English language readers really like something in Canadian? I mean, if you look in the mystery series, and we got the Scandinavian noir, you know, the Henning Mankell and the Stieg Larsson and those kinds of stuff. So, and there's the French noir, and now there's Icelandic wave and a bit of Norwegian with Jørgen Esbø and those kind of guys. But so I thought maybe there's a possibility for a Canadian angle. So I mean, there's a lot like Robert Ludlum and Tom Clancy from the 70s and 80s. To me,
Yeah.
they're master storytellers. They're very gabby, and it's the style wouldn't work today. But
Yeah, it's
how?
different. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Michael
I
Crichton.
worked with an editor, American editor, like you were saying, you get a lot of input from editors. I worked with an American editor who worked with Clive Cussler and Robert Ludlum.
Wow. Okay.
And as you said, it's expensive to ask for that kind of advice, and he had a very distinct way of how he thought everything should be done, from where the dialogue went, how short the sentences were, where the paragraph breaks were, and.
Wow.
But there were a few things where my Canadian editor, he was insisting on authenticity, and they didn't agree all the time. So that, I thought, gave me the right to decide what was subjective, what was correct, or the only way to do it. And when I had my own choice, I could do it my way. So
wow. Yeah.
I mean, I have sort of a second opinion.
Yeah, I do like that. I like the flexibility. I did get through the Writers Federation. I got access to a New York-based literary agent.
Okay.
And he was really nice. And so normally I would never get access. And I sent him my pitch, and he came back to me really fast. Yep, I like the concept. I like this idea, but I'll never be able to sell it because it takes place in Canada.
Okay.
If you switch everything to the US, we can talk. And I said, well, it doesn't mean anything to me then. It's
I had that conversation. My American editor says that, because my novels are set in Montreal, he said Montreal is exotic and interesting enough that you'll get some interest in it. It's okay. And I figure, well, Ian Rankin can sell a lot of books based on Edinburgh, so
that's right, exactly.
Why not? Montreal works for me.
Yeah.
But I did cheat a little bit. I send my hero and his sidekick all over the world, from Korea to Las Vegas, New York, Boston.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So I have enough hooks, I think, to appeal to different readers in different locations.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart. Yeah, mine's pretty local. It's all.
I hope that's legal.
Maybe you remember Trevanian from the 70s. Trevanian?
No.
He did
writer?
Pardon?
No.
No, he wrote very few books, and he was a nom de plume. He was a UK writer. I think he was a UK writer, and he wrote these books called Shibumi and The Maid and stuff. I really like that. We were talking earlier about
how would you describe your novels? Your series is noir or dramatic?
No, it's action thriller. So it's fast.
Action thriller? Okay.
Yeah. So the mystery isn't so much. It's not the mystery. You don't know who done it. You know who's going to do it, and the question is, can they be stopped?
Okay.
But it's unclear what the connections are. So I've got two main characters. One is a new young professor who doesn't really know, but with a strange past. Okay. Perhaps he's done, let's say, more action-based consulting than the typical business person. Okay. And then we have a very young female military naval captain on her first assignment, and she's trying to rescue people. And in fact, she realizes she's forced to actually fire upon them, and it may torpedo her career right at the start. Yeah. And it's not clear, but these two characters, their fates become intertwined because they soon realize they're actually fighting against an enemy, an internal enemy, willing to employ domestic terrorist action in order to achieve political gains.
Okay, that's interesting, because is there a hidden business message? Because I know you lecture in business strategy. Do you have messages?
Yeah, there's a business angle, and of course it's the worst of business that will show up in the story, not the best.
Okay, you see, well, that's interesting, because I'm trying to do the opposite. I call myself a consultant for enlightened entrepreneurship, so I'm trying to show my novel has the hero is an entrepreneur, and I kind of on the base of took Stephen King's advice: take an ordinary person and put them in a difficult situation and let them figure out how to get out of it. It's not a horror story, but it's a bit of a disaster story. He's threatened with death and disaster for himself and his business.
Oh, wow.
It's also a little bit like there aren't many books that are called business fiction, and I was warned by the wealthy barber, actually, don't call it business fiction. That's the kiss of death. Nobody will read it.
No one's going to read it. No way. No way.
So you have to call it action thriller or crime fiction or murder mystery.
It's like Michael Crichton's trick. He wrote science fiction novels, but he had a contract saying, don't you dare call it science fiction because that'll reduce my market. Call it a thriller, high tech or techno thriller or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't call it science fiction.
Well, that was the same advice. My editor, Alan Rensler in San Francisco, he insisted on the label that you'll see on my series. It's the Dale Hunter Thriller series.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
insisted on thriller as well.
Yep, I agree.
So, and that's what editors are sometimes best at, the marketing concept.
They are. Yeah, I don't.
You have to start with good content, but then you have to work on the packaging. That's to get anybody to care.
Yeah, it's like writing the book is only like a small fraction of the total job, which was a big surprise as a first-time author. I thought, okay, it's done. Great. Nothing else to do. No, that's not quite true.
And have you had a chance to meet readers and get feedback from readers that surprised you, or anything particularly that pleased you that you got it through to them?
Yeah, I had a launch event the day before the lockdown of the pandemic last year. So March 12th. That was on March 13th. And I got good feedback and lots of emails and texts from readers who through Goodreads and Amazon and Kobo. And I have a little website, my name. So yeah, it's pretty nice. So I've got good.
That's good. No, the comments are very good. They're pretty good. So
happy.
I congratulate you. And we're looking forward to more of the same in the second one and the third.
Right. Thanks very much.
There's at least 3.
At least 3. That's right.
Okay. And people can find you in bookstores anywhere, everywhere, online.
Anywhere. So I've got a website. So it's russellfralich.ca.
Okay.
Or .com, both, and you can find some information about me there. Find a bit more about the book, a free extract. You can, if you want to read a free copy or free couple of chapters, you can go to Google or Amazon or Kobo. They're available here or anywhere in the planet. So I've got sales in Europe and New Zealand and Australia. So I know they're available out there somewhere.
Okay, excellent. Well, congratulations again, Russell, and good luck with the next. Thanks very much for your time today. It's a pleasure to get to know you better and hear about your books and the process, and meet a famous, soon to be famous crime writer of Canada. And thanks again for joining us today. Bye.
Great, thanks very much, Phil. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been really nice talking with you.
My pleasure.